The call light outside, room 312, went off at the exact moment the room's chart disappeared from the system. I still don't know which terrified me more. I worked night shifts at St. Alden's Memorial for nearly 3 years, long enough to understand that hospitals never truly sleep. Even when the halls go quiet and the lights dim, there's always movement, carts rolling in the distance, machines breathing for patients, the occasional muted sob from behind a curtain. You learn to live inside that constant hum. You tell yourself that anything strange has a rational explanation, because believing otherwise makes it impossible to do your job. Room 312 was supposed to be empty. It had been cleared that morning after an elderly man passed during surgery. Terminal complications, no family present. By policy, the room stayed unused overnight. I remember because it was the only dark doorway in the West Wing, its lights shut off, its bed stripped bare. Around 2 in the morning, the call light flickered on. At first, I assumed it was a wiring fault. That wing was old, and electrical issues weren't uncommon. But when I checked the nurse's station monitor, room 312 showed as occupied. No name, no vitals, just a blinking bed icon. I walked down the corridor with that familiar knot in my stomach, the one that comes when you know something's wrong but can't explain why. The air felt colder near the room, sharp and stale, like a basement that hadn't been opened in years. The door was slightly ajar. Inside, the bed was made. White sheets tucked tight, pillows fluffed. The heart monitor was on, its screen dark, but humming softly. I stood there longer than I should have, listening to the quiet, convinced someone was breathing just out of sync with me. Hello? The call light shut off. I documented it as a system error and told myself to forget it. Hospitals are full of glitches. But the rest of the night I kept feeling watched, not stared at, observed patiently. Every time I passed room 312, the door was closed. Every time I checked the charting system, the room was gone again, as if it had never existed. The next night, a patient was admitted across the hall. A middle-aged woman recovering from pneumonia. Around 3, she pressed her call button repeatedly, frantic. When I rushed in, she grabbed my wrist hard enough to hurt. "Keep standing there," she whispered, pointing toward the doorway. "He doesn't move. He just waits." I asked her who she meant. She described an older man in a hospital gown, pale, his face slack like he was mid-thought. She said he'd been there for hours watching her sleep. Room 312 was directly behind her. I checked the hallway, empty. But when I turned back, the woman was crying silently, eyes fixed on the door, her breathing shallow. "He's mad, I told you," she said. I requested a psych consult and told myself she was delirious. Infection can do terrible things to the mind. Still, I couldn't shake the image she described. It matched the photo I later found buried in the archives, a grainy staff badge from years ago. Same man, same face. He had been a patient who died during surgery. In room 312, things escalated after that. Motion sensors triggered in empty corridors. Wheelchairs rolled inches on their own. Call lights activated in rooms marked vacant. It's always near 312. Always between 2 and 4 in the morning. One night, while charting alone, I heard footsteps pacing above me. That floor had been closed for renovations for months. I radioed security. They reported no movement. But the footsteps continued, slow and uneven, like someone learning how to walk again. I checked the system logs. Every anomaly traced back to a patient ID that no longer existed. No name, no records, just a blank space where information should have been. On my final night shift, the call light for room 312 came on again. This time the monitor showed vitals, slow, steady, alive. I stood outside the door for a long time, my hand hovering over the handle. The smell was unmistakable, sterile, metallic, old. When I finally opened it, the room was exactly as it had been before, except the bed was occupied. The man lay still beneath the sheets, eyes open, chest rising shallowly. He turned his head toward me with effort, like it hurt to do so. His mouth moved, but no sound came out. The heart monitor flatlined. Every machine in the room shut off at once. The lights went dark. In the silence, I heard a whisper right beside my ear, cold and strained. "Don't send me back." The lights came on. The bed was empty. The room stripped bare again. I quit 2 weeks later. St. Alden's closed the West Wing shortly after, citing structural issues. But I still get calls sometimes from former coworkers. They ask if I ever figured out what was wrong with room 312. I tell them the truth. Whatever was admitted, they're never checked out.